Hi, my name is Kenny Bristol, and today I'm going to be discussing Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's affects more than 5 million Americans in today's world, according to the Alzheimer's Association, which is a pretty staggering and eye-opening number that I think catches a lot of people's attention. So during my presentation today, I'm going to be talking about what Alzheimer's is, what causes Alzheimer's, the progression of the disease, and some potential outcomes of the disease. So first, what Alzheimer's is. Alzheimer's is a form of dementia that causes problems with memory, thinking, and behavior. This is due to the deterioration and degeneration of the brain. And as you can see in this graphic, there's a healthy brain there on the left and a brain in the advanced stages of Alzheimer's on the right. And it's pretty obvious how deteriorated the brain is on the right. Alzheimer's normally occurs during old age, but it can occur earlier in life. This is referred to as early onset Alzheimer's, and although it's pretty uncommon, it is possible. And finally, we'll just say that Alzheimer's is a progressive disease, which means that it gets worse with time. So next I'll move into what causes Alzheimer's. The major contributor to Alzheimer's disease is linked to increased age. It's also linked to family history, as families with Alzheimer's in their background tend to get it more commonly than families that do not. And scientists also know that it can be linked to genetics. And there are two specific categories of genes that lead to the development of Alzheimer's. The first is risk genes, which increase the likelihood of developing a disease but do not guarantee it. And this is somewhat common in Alzheimer's patients. And then next is the deterministic genes, which directly cause a disease. And this is really rare in Alzheimer's patients, as it's about 5% of patients. So next I'll move into the progression of the disease. So typically Alzheimer's is classified into 3 stages. First is the mild or early stage, second is the moderate or middle stage, and finally is the severe or late stage. And as you can see in the visual here, on the different stages of Alzheimer's affect the brain in different areas, and they affect more of the brain the worse the disease gets. So first I'll hit the mild phase. Normally individuals in the mild stage can function independently and are socially normal. They do start to develop the symptoms and notice it, and their family and friends do as well. Their memory lapses begin at this point but aren't very awful. Then next they move into the moderate stage, which is typically the longest stage and can last several years actually. The individual requires greater care at this point, and damage to the nerve cells in the brain make daily tasks a lot more difficult. And this can lead to frustration and anger a lot of the times during this stage, but they do still remember the major details in their life at this point. Next, it'll move into the severe final stage of the disease, and this is when the individual loses the ability to hold conversations and even control movement of certain body parts. Communication is extremely difficult at this point, and it can even lead to personality changes. Extensive help is required at this point. It can even lead to around-the-clock help. Physical impairments, as I said earlier, are very prevalent in this stage, and also they become vulnerable to infections, specifically pneumonia, during this stage. So finally, I'll move into the potential outcomes of the disease. Alzheimer's is listed as the 6th leading cause of death in the U.S. according to the Alzheimer's Association. As you can see here on this chart, it accounts for 85,000 deaths in 2013 alone, and it's actually listed as the 5th leading cause of death for those 65 and older. And this number will only continue to increase as the population of the country grows and life expectancy does as well. And Alzheimer's is also the only disease in the top 10 leading causes of death that does not have any cure, cannot be prevented, or even slowed. So in conclusion, today I discussed what Alzheimer's is, what causes Alzheimer's, the progression of the disease, and finally some potential outcomes. Hopefully I opened your eyes to what Alzheimer's is, as it's such a prevalent disease in today's world. And I can almost guarantee that every single one of you know an individual who either suffers or suffered from Alzheimer's, and hopefully I gave you a better understanding of it today. Thank you.